This story is a fictional narrative inspired by real-life emotions and everyday experiences. I've never cheated on Emma from the day I started loving her, but she just read all my old messages with other girls, back when I was still single. Now she's crying, she's angry, and I saw her on YouTube searching for how to get revenge on a cheating boyfriend. I don't know what to do except be scared. Scared to eat what she cooks, scared to sleep next to her. Most of all, scared she'll leave me. Chapter 1, The Old Phone. I got home at 7 p.m. Emma was sitting on the couch, strangely quiet. In her hand was my old phone, the one she borrowed when hers broke last week. She wasn't looking at me, just staring at the screen. And I knew right away she'd seen everything. I'm Jake, 27 years old, live in Seattle. Emma moved in with me 2 months ago. We love each other like any normal couple. Watch movies together, have little fights, make up, and fall even more in love. Last week, Emma dropped her phone and the screen shattered. She asked to borrow the old one I kept in the drawer. I hesitated. That phone has a bunch of old messages from when I was single, flirting with girls, but I thought, I've changed now, it'll be fine. I gave it to her. Mistake. Today I came home and saw that scene. Emma didn't say anything. She just sat there, eyes red. The phone in her hand, I could see the WhatsApp screen. My messages with a girl named Lisa from 2 years ago. Babe, I started. Emma stood up, went upstairs to our room, closed the door. I stood in the middle of the living room, heart pounding. How much did she read? What does she think of me? I wanted to explain, but how do you explain? I stood there frozen for 15 seconds. The room was exactly like when I left for work. The throw pillow on the sofa still tilted to one side, Emma's glass still half full on the table. But the air was totally different, heavy, thick. I looked up the stairs, bedroom door shut tight. I took off my shoes, kept my backpack on, and walked up step by step. Each stair creaked under my feet. I'd never noticed how loud it was. At the bedroom door, I stopped, raised my hand to knock, but kept putting it back down. I heard Emma inside, not talking, crying, soft like she was trying to hold it in. Emma, I knocked as gently as I could. Silence. Can you open the door so we can talk? The crying stopped for a moment, then started again, but no sound of her coming to open the door. I leaned my forehead against the wooden door. Cold. My hand started shaking. I closed my eyes and suddenly those old messages flashed in my mind. Me and Lisa, 2 years ago. Me and Michelle, 3 years ago. Me and so many other girls I can't even remember all their names. Those cheesy pickup lines. Those dates I never kept. Those flirty memes. Those fake winky face stickers. I really was a jerk back then, but that was before I met Emma. Before I knew what it felt like to wake up wanting to see someone's face. Before I knew what it felt like to miss someone so bad it hurts. I sat down, leaning my back against the door. The floor was cold, the cold seeping through my jeans. I still hadn't taken off my backpack. I know you saw my old messages, I said, my voice getting rough. I don't know how many you read, but I want you to know. That was 2 years ago, a long time ago, before I met you. The crying inside still didn't stop. I'm not making excuses. Back then, I really was a bad guy. I flirted around, said dumb stuff, did childish things. I'm so embarrassed thinking about it now, but I swallowed, my throat felt tight. But I've never cheated on you. From the day I met you, I wasn't that guy anymore. I only have you, I swear. Silence. Then Emma's voice came through, tiny, like a whisper through the door. How can I believe you? That question felt like someone cutting into my chest with a knife. I didn't know how to answer. I wanted to break down the door and hug her, but I knew that would only make things worse. I wanted to explain clearly, but my mouth was frozen. Couldn't say anything. Who's Lisa? Emma asked next, her voice still small, but I heard every word. I read your messages with her. You said, I miss you. You're so pretty. When can we meet? 2 years ago, you said that to her. And now you say, you only have me? Emma, that was. I grabbed my knees tight. That was when I was still single. I flirted around, but I never really loved anyone. I was just talking for fun. I know it sounds stupid, but that's the truth. Back then, I didn't know what love was. Until I met you. How many people have you said that line to? Just another empty line, right? No, and I hit the floor with my hand, then regretted it immediately. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to raise my voice. But you have to believe me. I've never lied to you about anything. I've never texted anyone like that, since I've loved you. Check my phone right now if you want. I hide nothing from you. Emma was quiet for a long time. Then she said, her voice tired, Go to sleep, Jake. I'm tired. I heard her footsteps on the wood floor, the bed creaking, then silence. I still sat there, back against the door. The living room downstairs was pitch dark, just streetlight coming through the window. I looked at my watch. 7:43 p.m. Only 43 minutes had passed since I walked in, but it felt like a whole day. I couldn't get up. My arms and legs felt totally weak. I just sat there, leaning against the door that separated me from the girl I love most in this world. So many things were spinning in my head. What will Emma do? Will she leave me? Will she tell her friends? Will she post something on social media? Then I remembered last week she watched some YouTube videos, all those videos like how to get revenge on your ex, how to make them regret it. I didn't think anything of it then, but now I shook my head. No, Emma's not like that. She's so gentle. She's just hurt. And I'm the one who hurt her. I sat there for a whole hour until I heard Emma turn over in bed, the bed creaking again, then silence. She must be asleep now, or pretending to be. I still sat against the door, too scared to go in, scared to see her eyes. Scared to see in her eyes a look I'd never seen before, a look of doubt, of hurt, of lost trust. I looked down at my hands. They were still shaking a little. I wanted to do something. Call someone for advice, but who can I call now? This is between me and Emma. I have to figure it out myself. But how can I figure it out when she won't even look at me? I looked up at the dark ceiling. Seattle at night is cold, the cold seeping in through every crack in the door. I pulled my thin jacket tighter, hugging myself, and I sat there hour after hour. Just the sound of wind outside and the sound of my heart beating heavy in my chest. Chapter 2, Breakfast in Silence. The next morning, I woke up on the couch. My neck was sore. The pillow had fallen off somewhere. My head had been lying on the couch arm all night. I sat up, looked around. The room was still dark, just past 6. I went to the kitchen. Emma was already there, frying eggs. Her back was to me. I stood at the kitchen door, not knowing what to do. My arms and legs felt stiff. Emma kept frying eggs, didn't turn around. She was wearing my old gray hoodie, her hair in a ponytail with a few loose strands at the back of her neck. The oil sizzling in the pan. The spoon tapping gently against the bowl as she beat the eggs. The most normal sounds, but today they sounded so strange. Emma, I spoke up, my voice rough from just waking up. She still didn't turn around. Eat breakfast. Her voice was hoarse, probably from crying so much last night. She put the plate of eggs on the table with 2 slices of toast. Then she sat down and started eating. Didn't look at me. I sat down across from her, picked up my fork, looked at the eggs, fried eggs, runny yolk. She knows I like them that way. Normally I'd finish in 2 minutes. Today I couldn't swallow. The toast was dry and hard in my mouth. I kept chewing, but it wouldn't go down. I tried again. Don't say anything. Emma cut me off, eyes still on her egg plate. Let me eat breakfast first. I shut up, just watched her eat. She kept her head down, hand holding the fork, bringing food to her mouth, chewing slowly. Her eyes looked down, wouldn't glance at me even once. I wanted to say so many things. Wanted to explain, wanted to apologize. But I just sat there, fork stuck in my cold eggs. We ate in silence. The whole kitchen just had the sound of forks lightly hitting plates. I only managed to eat 1 slice of toast. Emma finished her whole plate of eggs, then stood up to wash the dishes. I wanted to help, but she shook her head. A small shake, not looking at me. I stood up, brought my plate to the sink. Emma still said nothing. She just moved her body slightly to one side, making room for me to put my plate down. The space between us was about half a meter, but it felt farther than an ocean. She finished washing the dishes, dried her hands on a towel, then went straight upstairs. I heard the closet door open and close, the sound of a suitcase zipper. I panicked, ran upstairs fast. My heart pounded. No, please, Emma, don't leave me. But when I got up there, she was just putting on her work jacket. The suitcase was still lying still in the corner of the closet. I breathed a sigh of relief, but didn't feel calm for long. Emma looked in the mirror, smoothed her hair. She had light makeup on, but I could clearly see the dark circles under her eyes. She must have cried a lot last night, probably didn't sleep much. I stood at the bedroom door watching her. She knew I was there, but still didn't turn around. Before leaving for work, she stood at the front door, turned back to look at me. First time since morning, she looked straight into my eyes. Her eyes were still red, the dark circles under them so clear. Looked at me for about 2 seconds, then she said, I'll be home late tonight. Don't wait for dinner. The door closed. The lock clicked, then silence. I sat alone in the silent apartment. The fridge humming downstairs, the clock ticking on the wall. I looked out the window. Seattle this morning was gloomy, gray clouds covering the whole sky. I went upstairs, thought about lying down a bit more, but my eyes stopped at Emma's desk. There, my old phone lay quietly. I picked it up, opened the screen, went into WhatsApp. The chat history appeared and I scrolled down, then up. The newest chats were still unread. But the old chats, with Lisa, with Michelle, with a dozen other girls whose faces I can't even remember, all had the scene mark, from top to bottom. She'd read everything. I sat down hard on the bed. My hand scrolled through each conversation. Lisa, 2 years ago. I texted, "Missed you so much last night. That picture of you in the red dress is really pretty. When can we meet? I'm so sad. I need you here with me." Michelle, also 2 years ago. "I've liked you for a long time, can't you tell? Let's go out drinking tonight. My treat. Don't be mad anymore. My heart hurts so much." So many other girls. Names I can't even remember who they were. All those empty lines. Those cheap flirting words. Those dates I never kept. Reading it again, I felt disgusted with myself. There were messages I sent on the same day to 2 different girls. "I miss you," sent to Lisa at 9 a.m. "I only have you," sent to Michelle at 11 p.m. I stared at those lines, couldn't believe I was ever like that. Emma read all of this. She saw me sending this message in the morning, that message at night. She saw me saying "love you" to so many people, each one different, never meaning it with anyone. She saw me as the player everyone warned her to stay away from. I put the phone down. My hands shook. I looked around the room, our bed, the blankets and pillows still messy where Emma slept, her closet still slightly open, seeing some of her favorite shirts. Everything was still here. But I was scared. Scared that she wasn't really here anymore. Not physically, but in her heart. I picked up the phone again, went into YouTube, looked at Emma's history. The videos she watched recently appeared. How to get revenge on your ex and make them regret it forever. 10 ways to make him regret betraying you. Gentle but painful revenge on your ex. I swallowed. My throat was dry. Now I understood. She didn't just read 1 or 2 messages. She read everything. She saw who I was before I met her, and I was scared that she would never look at me the same way again. I let myself fall back onto the bed, arms hugging the pillow that still smelled faintly of Emma's shampoo. That familiar lavender scent. I closed my eyes, remembering how she'd laugh when I told funny stories from work. Remembered how she'd nuzzle her head into my chest every night before sleeping. Remembered the way she looked at me like I was her whole world. Then I remembered the way she looked at me this morning. Cold, strange, looking at me like she'd never met me before. I hugged the pillow tighter. Tears suddenly came out. I didn't cry loudly, just quietly. Tears flowed down, soaking the pillowcase. I felt ashamed and scared and so sorry for her all at once. I still lay there when the clock hit 9, 10, then 11. Outside, the clouds were still gray. It was going to rain soon. Seattle rains a lot this time of year. I hoped Emma remembered to bring an umbrella. Then I thought, maybe she doesn't want me caring about little things like that anymore. I turned over, looked up at the ceiling. The room was so spacious but felt so suffocating. I wanted to call her. But call to say what? Apologize? I'd apologized 100 times already, and she wasn't listening. Explain? How do I explain who I was 2 years ago? I just wanted her to know one thing. I've changed. Since I met her, I've never looked at anyone else. I've never thought about cheating. I've never loved anyone like I love her. But saying that, would she believe me? I looked back at the phone screen, those old messages still there, those sweet words I once said to so many people. Now I say them to Emma. Why should she believe me? I let go. The phone fell softly onto the bed. Outside, the first raindrops started tapping on the window. Chapter 3, Search History. That afternoon, I asked to leave work early. Got home at 4 p.m. The apartment was empty. I sat in the living room, looking out the window, waiting for Emma. Outside, it was still drizzling from the morning. Raindrops ran down the glass, drawing zigzag lines. I looked at the clock, then back at the door, then at the clock again. The clock hit 5, 6, 7. Emma still wasn't home. I texted, "You home yet?" No reply. I called, busy. I called again, still busy. Third time, it rang, but no one picked up. I stood up, pacing back and forth in the living room. From the window to the front door, from the front door to the kitchen, then back to the window. My feet took long steps, out of control. My hand kept pressing on my phone, checking messages, checking Emma's social media. Nothing new. Her last post was from yesterday. A picture of a coffee cup at our usual spot. Under it, some friends commented asking how she was. Emma didn't reply to anyone. I went into the bedroom, looked around. The bed was still messy like when I lay there this morning. My pillow still had dried tear stains. And on the bed next to Emma's pillow, her phone lay there. She'd forgotten it. I stood looking at it. A light pink phone, a cute cat case Emma bought at the weekend market. It lay still on the white sheets, lighting up a little when a notification came. I knew it was an invasion of privacy. I knew clearly. But I had to know. My feet automatically moved forward. My hand picked up the phone, opened it. The screen appeared, and I saw the YouTube history. My heart stopped. How to get revenge on a cheating boyfriend. How to make your partner suffer. Elaborate revenge plans nobody suspects. Make your boyfriend terrified in just 3 days. Is nausea medicine dangerous? How to put laxatives in food without getting caught. I scrolled down. She'd watched dozens of videos. Watch time. From 2 a.m. while I was sleeping on the couch. Some videos she watched 3 times. Some she saved to her watch later list. I dropped the phone on the bed. It fell softly, bounced once, then lay still. My head was spinning. Emma was planning revenge on me. Emma, the girl I love, the person I want to spend my whole life with, was looking for ways to make me suffer. I sank down to the floor, holding my head. Sweat burst out on my forehead, ran down my temples. My hands were ice cold, even though the room wasn't cold. My heart beat so fast I could hear every beat in my ears. My stomach cramped in waves. I remembered Emma's cooking. Yesterday she made orange chicken. I ate it and it was delicious. But if she put something in it? I remembered she turned away at one point while cooking. She said she forgot scallions. But what if? No, impossible. Emma's not like that. But she's looking up revenge on YouTube. She searched for laxatives and nausea. What does she want to do to me? I panicked. I stood up, ran downstairs to the kitchen, opened the spice cabinet, looked at each jar. Chili powder, garlic powder, seasoning powder, sugar, salt, pepper. Was anything strange? I opened each jar and smelled. The salt jar looked a little fuller than usual. Or was I just not paying attention? I poured a little into my hand, tasted it. Salty. Just salt. I opened the fridge. Yesterday's leftovers were still there. The orange chicken plate wrapped in plastic on the middle shelf. I stared at it. The orange sauce had congealed, sticking around the chicken pieces. My stomach growled from hunger. I hadn't eaten all day. But I didn't dare eat it. My hand reached out, then pulled back. I opened the freezer. Some ice cream containers, bags of frozen vegetables, ground beef. Normal. I opened the crisper drawer. The lettuce was a little wilted, a few tomatoes left. There was a newly opened bottle of dressing. I remembered Emma bought it Tuesday. She made salad. I picked it up, shook it gently, looked at the bottom. Saw nothing strange. I closed the fridge, stood in the middle of the kitchen, breathing hard. Sweat soaked the back of my shirt. I looked around. The familiar kitchen where Emma and I always cooked together every night now felt so strange. The non-stick pan she always used still hung on the rack. The green cutting board, she likes using the green one for vegetables, the brown one for meat. Everything was like every other day. But I was looking at it with different eyes. I heard my heart pounding in my chest. Both my hands were shaking and I had to hold onto the kitchen counter edge to stand steady. My head buzzed with so many sounds, the sounds of the YouTube videos Emma watched, the sound of her crying last night, the sound of her saying, "How can I believe you?" Then I heard keys at the door. My heart jumped up to my throat. I quickly put everything back where it was. The spice jars I'd touched, I rearranged them, trying to make them look like before. I wiped my hands on my pants, ran to the living room, flopped down on the couch, trying to look normal. The door opened. Emma walked in. Her hair was slightly wet from the rain. In her hand, she carried a bag, probably bought something on the way home. She looked at me, then she smiled. "You're home early?" A normal smile. The slight head tilt. Her voice still warm, like always. But I saw, in her eyes, something was different. A strange glint. Something like waiting. I smiled back, but my smile was probably really twisted. "Yeah," I asked to leave early. Emma nodded, took off her shoes, went into the kitchen. I watched her. She put the bag on the counter, opened the fridge, took out the leftover chicken plate. She picked up a spoon and ate. 1 bite, 2 bites. Chewed happily. Orange sauce stuck on her lip. She licked it off, then scooped more. I stood at the kitchen door, watching her. My eyes stared at the chicken plate, at each bite she brought to her mouth. She swallowed, drank some water, then ate more. I felt relief wash over me. Like someone had pulled all the air out of my lungs, then pumped it back in. My legs shook. I had to hold onto the doorframe. Emma turned around, saw me watching. "You want some? Are you hungry?" I shook my head, and I already ate. Lying. My stomach was growling loudly. I could hear it rumbling from inside, but I didn't dare eat. Didn't dare. Even though she just ate, even though it seemed safe, I still didn't dare. Emma nodded, turned back to eat more. She ate half the chicken plate, then covered it with plastic wrap and put it back in the fridge. I still stood at the door, watching. "You okay?" Emma asked, not turning around. "Your face looks really pale." "I'm fine," I said, my voice rough, "probably just a little tired." Emma turned around, looked at me. That look. I didn't know if it was concern or something else. I couldn't read her eyes anymore. "Then go lie down," she said. "I'll clean up." I nodded, went back upstairs. Each step up the stairs felt heavy as rocks. When I got to the bedroom, I saw Emma's phone still lying on the bed where I left it. I reached out and picked it up, planning to put it back where it was. The screen lit up, still on the YouTube history. I looked at the last search line. How to make your boyfriend scared without doing anything. I put the phone down, flopped onto the bed, closed my eyes. My breathing was fast. I heard Emma downstairs, water running, dishes clinking together. The most normal sounds. But I lay in bed, shaking uncontrollably, not knowing what would happen tomorrow. Chapter 4, The Suspicious Dinner. 3 days passed. 3 days I lived in fear. I didn't dare eat food Emma cooked. Pretended to eat, but just nibbled a little, then dumped it down the toilet when she wasn't looking. Every morning I woke up early, made my own coffee, toasted my own bread. I said I liked doing it so Emma could sleep more. She looked at me with strange eyes, half worried, half suspicious. I don't know anymore. I don't know anything anymore. My body got thinner, jeans a little loose at the waist. My eyes had dark circles from staying up so many nights, lying on the couch listening to every sound in the house. Emma still went to work, still talked normally, still smiled, but I saw she had dark circles under her eyes too. She got thinner too. Some nights I heard her tossing in bed, couldn't sleep. We lived in the same house, but were farther apart than ever. Friday night, Emma said, "Tonight I'll cook your favorite dish, beef stew." My heart jumped. My favorite dish. The dish my mom used to make every time I visited home. The dish I told Emma about when we first started dating said that when we have kids, we have to teach them to make this dish to keep the family tradition. Emma knew how much it meant to me. "Okay, thank you." I tried to speak normally, but my voice cracked a little. Emma went into the kitchen. I sat in the living room, turned on the TV, but didn't watch. My ears perked up, listening to every sound from the kitchen. The knife chopping on the cutting board, the meat sizzling in the pan, the water boiling in the pot. Normal. Too normal. But I was still scared. I peeked into the kitchen. Emma was cooking, her back to me. She opened the fridge, took something out, a small white box. I couldn't see clearly. Then she bent down below the counter, the spot hidden behind the cabinet, her hands doing something my eyes couldn't reach. My heart pounded so hard I thought it would jump out of my chest. What am I doing? Am I turning into a paranoid person? I told myself. But I couldn't stop being scared. I looked them down at my hands. They were gripping the couch arm so tight my knuckles turned white. An hour later, Emma brought out the pot of beef stew. The smell was amazing, so good my stomach growled even though I was scared. The smell of cinnamon, star anise, tender beef, all mixed together. Emma scooped out 2 bowls, put them on the table. She sat down, looked at me. "Eat, babe." I looked at the bowl of stew. Dark brown pieces of meat, thick sauce the color of caramel, carrots and golden potatoes cut just right. My favorite dish. The dish I'd been craving for so long. Steam rose up, carrying that smell that made my mouth water. But I didn't dare touch my chopsticks. "You're not hungry?" Emma asked, eyes staring right at me. That look, I couldn't read it. "Hungry, I am hungry." I picked up my chopsticks. They shook a little. I picked up a piece of meat, brought it to my mouth. Emma was still watching. I swallowed. The meat was tender and melted in my mouth, fragrant, delicious like always. I waited for a strange taste. Bitter, sour, something, nothing. I ate another piece. The potato was soft, soaked in the rich sauce. Still delicious, still normal. But Emma was still watching me, staring. Why are you looking at me like that? I asked, trying to keep my voice calm, but my throat was dry. She smiled, a small smile, almost gentle. I just want to watch you eat well. You haven't eaten well in a long time, right? I see you've lost a lot of weight. I looked on down and kept eating. Each bite I had to tell myself, it's okay. She ate first. See, she's eating too. Emma ate while watching me, occasionally adding more meat to my bowl. Eat more, babe. I remember when we first started dating, you told me your mom used to make this for you whenever you were sad. I looked at her. Those words she still remembered. She still remembered the stories I told from when we first fell in love. I wanted to believe this was a loving gesture. I really wanted to. But I couldn't forget the YouTube history. Those videos about laxatives and putting strange powder in food. I ate a few more bites, then put my chopsticks down. I'm full. It was really good, Em. Emma looked at my bowl, still more than half full. That's so little? You don't like it? I like it a lot, but I ate a little too much at work this afternoon. Lying. I didn't eat anything at work. I didn't dare eat anything at all. Emma nodded and didn't say anything more. She finished her bowl, then stood up to clear the table. I'll wash the dishes. Let me, I said quickly. I can wash. You cooked. Let me clean. Emma looked at me for a moment, then nodded. Okay, thank you. She went to the living room, turned on the TV. I heard loud commercials from the living room. I carried the bowls to the sink, turned on the water. Cold water ran over my hands, but it didn't calm me down at all. I started washing, scrubbing each bowl really carefully, like I could scrub the fear out of my heart. Then my eyes looked down at the trash can under the sink. A small plastic bag sat at the bottom, peeking out between some onion skins and coffee grounds. I bent down, picked it up. On the bag were words, MSG. I breathed a sigh of relief. MSG, just MSG. Everyone uses MSG when cooking. I almost laughed at how paranoid I was. But then I looked closer. On the back of the bag, there was a small line printed in black ink, that super tiny print nobody ever reads. Product expired last month, do not use. I stood still. Cold water from the faucet kept running, rushing into the sink. My hand holding the MSG bag, frozen like a statue. Expired. She used expired MSG to cook my favorite dish. On purpose or by accident? Or was it on purpose? I remembered when she bent down below the counter, the hidden spot behind the cabinet. What did she take out then? Was it this MSG bag? And did she know it was expired, or did she use it on purpose too? Babe, you done yet? Come watch a movie with me. Emma's voice from the living room made me jump. I quickly threw the plastic bag back in the trash, used my hand to bury it under the onion skins to hide it. My hands shook as I turned off the water. Coming, I yelled back. My own voice sounded shaky even to me. I stood there, both hands gripping the sink, looking down at the trash. Expired MSG. Maybe it's nothing. Maybe she just didn't notice. Maybe I'm overthinking. But maybe. No, stop thinking. But I kept thinking. And I couldn't watch a movie with her tonight. I walked to the living room. Emma was sitting on the couch, remote in her hand. She patted the spot next to her. Come here, movie's about to start. I stood at the doorway, not moving forward. I'm a little tired, Emma. I'm going to lie down. You watch. Emma looked at me. That look, I didn't know if it was disappointment or suspicion or something else. You okay? She asked. Fine, just tired. I turned, walked up the stairs. I could feel her eyes on my back until I disappeared around the corner. Up in the bedroom, I closed the door, flopped down on the bed. My stomach started cramping. I held my stomach, closed my eyes. Was it from being so anxious or from that MSG? I don't know. I don't know anything anymore. I lay down, curled up, listening to every sound in my stomach. The TV from downstairs, the sound of the studio audience laughing. After a while, I heard Emma coming up the stairs. Slow footsteps stopping in front of the bedroom door. I held my breath. The door didn't open. The footsteps continued toward the bathroom, water running, then silence. I lay there, eyes wide open in the dark, still holding my stomach. Finally, I heard Emma come into the bedroom, get into bed, lie down next to me. She didn't say anything, didn't move. We lay next to each other in the same bed, but the space between us was wider than an ocean. I closed my eyes, but couldn't sleep. In my head, that tiny line of print kept appearing. Product expired last month. And Emma's smile when she watched me eat. Her smile tonight. Why was it so cold? Chapter 5, Can't Sleep. The 5th night. I couldn't sleep. 5 nights now. I lay next to Emma, pretending my eyes were closed, but my ears listened to every tiny sound. Emma breathed evenly, probably asleep. I opened my eyes, looked at the ceiling in the dark. The little cracks in the ceiling seemed clearer tonight, forming strange shapes. My body clock was completely messed up. Every day the same: wake up tired, go to work like a zombie, come home stressed, waiting for something to happen. I looked over at Emma. She was lying on her side, hair covering half her face. In the dim light from the window, I saw her shoulder rise and fall with each breath. I wanted to hold her, pull her into my arms like before. But I didn't dare. My hands lay still at my side, afraid to move. I took my phone from the nightstand, checked the time. 1:47 a.m. The bright screen made me squint, a message from Mike. Mike, you okay? You've been acting weird lately. I stared at the words, my finger hovering over the keyboard. I wanted to tell him so badly. Wanted to say, I'm living in hell, man. My girlfriend is planning revenge on me. I'm scared to eat her food. Scared to drink what she makes. Scared to even sleep next to her. But I typed, fine. Mike, really? You look exhausted at work. If something's up, tell me. Me, yeah, thanks, man. I turned off the phone, put it back on the nightstand. I couldn't tell anyone. Who would believe it? My girlfriend is looking up revenge on YouTube. I'm scared to eat her cooking. Sounds like a horror movie. But this is real life. 3 a.m., still awake. The clock on my phone changed minute by minute. 3:02, 3:03, 3:04. Emma's steady breathing. Then suddenly she moved. I closed my eyes immediately, kept my breathing even like I was asleep. My heart pounded in my chest. I felt Emma sit up. Felt her eyes on me. Even with eyes closed, I knew she was looking. 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds. I couldn't count how long. Then she got out of bed. I heard soft footsteps going out, the bedroom door opening quietly, footsteps going downstairs, then the fridge opening in the kitchen, water pouring, the fridge closing, then silence. I waited, 1 minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes. She didn't come back to bed. I opened my eyes, looked at the door, dim light from the living room, faint under the door crack. I sat up quietly, trying not to make noise. My feet touched the cold floor. I went to the door, peeked out. Emma sat on the couch, hugging a pillow, looking out the window. Streetlight came in, lighting up her face clearly. She was wearing my gray hoodie, hair messy, legs pulled up on the couch. She wasn't crying, just sat still, looking out into the nothing outside, for a very long time. I looked at the clock on the living room wall from far away. 3:27 a.m. The street was empty, a car passing by once in a while. Headlights flashed across the window glass, then disappeared. Emma still sat like a statue. I wanted to go hug her. Wanted to sit next to her, pull her into my arms, ask if she was okay. But I was scared. Scared she'd jump. Scared she'd look at me with that look, that cold look from the past few days. Scared I wouldn't know what to say. Scared everything would get worse. I stood there watching her for a long time. Then she leaned her head back on the couch, closed her eyes. I saw her shoulders shake slightly. She was crying, but holding it in so no sound came out. My hands gripped the door frame. My nails pressed into the wood until they turned white. I wanted to go out. I wanted to run out. But my legs wouldn't move. I went back to bed, lay still. Finally, I heard Emma come back. Slow footsteps up the stairs, the bedroom door opening. She lay down, turned her back to me. But I knew she wasn't sleeping either. Her breathing wasn't even like when she slept. Sometimes a little sniffle, like holding back tears. I lay still, eyes wide open in the dark, staring at the ceiling. Outside, the sky started getting light without me noticing. The next morning, when I had finally dozed off a little, I heard Emma get up, go downstairs. I didn't open my eyes, but my ears listened to every sound. The fridge opening, the juicer running, water running. A little later, she came up, put a glass of orange juice on the nightstand. I felt her warmth as she stood close, that familiar shampoo smell. Drink this. Her voice was raspy, soft like a whisper. You haven't been sleeping well. I opened my eyes. The fresh orange juice was right in front of me, little pulp pieces floating in the water. Bright orange, cold, condensation dripping down the glass. Normally I'd drink it right away, even ask for more. Today I looked at the glass, looked at Emma. She stood there, still holding a towel, eyes watching me expectantly. I said, I'll have it later. Emma nodded, but I saw her eyes dropped. A little drop, like someone just blew out a candle inside her. She turned, walked out of the room. I heard her go downstairs. Then the bathroom door closing. When everything was quiet, I picked up the orange juice glass, smelled it. Fresh orange smell, normal. I was about to drink, but then my hand stopped. The YouTube history flashed in my head. nausea medicine, how to put laxatives in food. I looked at the orange juice and wondered, is there something in here? I put the glass down, then picked it up again. Twice, 3 times. Finally, I took the glass into the bathroom, opened the toilet lid, poured it down. The yellow juice swirled, little pulp pieces floating away, disappearing into the water. I watched it go, still holding the empty glass. What am I doing? The question echoed in my head. I looked at myself in the mirror. Face gaunt, dark circles under my eyes, hair a mess. A crazy person staring back at me from the mirror. Am I turning crazy? I put the glass on the sink counter. My hands shook. I turned on the faucet, splashed water on my face, trying to wake up. Cold water ran down my neck, soaking my collar. But I couldn't stop. I couldn't stop being scared. Couldn't stop doubting. Couldn't stop seeing Emma as a threat. I walked out of the bathroom, went downstairs. Emma was standing there, pouring herself coffee. She turned to look at me, looked at the empty glass in my hand. Good? She asked softly. I nodded. Yeah, really good. Thanks, Em. Emma smiled. A small smile, but it didn't reach her eyes. Good. You need vitamins. You've been looking so pale. She turned away, poured coffee into a mug. I stood watching her back, her straight white shirt, her small shoulders. I wanted to hug her from behind, like I used to every morning before, but I couldn't. I just stood there, holding the empty glass, wondering, when will this nightmare end? Chapter 6, Tears. Saturday. Emma went grocery shopping in the morning. I stayed home alone, looking at the quiet apartment, looking at familiar corners that suddenly felt strange. I walked around the house like a ghost, went to the kitchen, looked at the spice jars neatly arranged on the shelf. The jars I had smelled, had doubted. Went to the living room, looked at the chair Emma always sat in, the cushion still shaped like her. Went to the bedroom, looked at the bed, where we used to hold each other sleeping, now each in our own corner, a cold, empty space between. I stopped in front of Emma's closet. The door was slightly open, showing familiar colors inside. I pulled it gently, opened it wider. Not to snoop. Just to look at her clothes. The dresses she wore when we went out. The floral one from last month when we saw a movie. The black dress from our dinner at the Italian restaurant. The beige sweater she always wore at home. Soft, worn from many washes, but still smelling like familiar fabric softener. I reached out and touched it. Soft wool under my fingers. I picked it up, pressed it to my face, breathed in the familiar scent. The smell of Emma, the smell of Sunday mornings lying around watching TV, the smell of nights holding each other sleeping. And I cried. I don't remember the last time I cried. Maybe when I was a kid, when our family dog died. Or in high school, when our basketball team lost the championship game. But it's been a long time. Men don't cry, they say. But now I cried. Cried like a child. Tears soaked into the sweater, wetting a spot. I couldn't stop. My shoulders shook. I hugged the sweater tight like I was hugging Emma, like I could hold on to her. I was so scared. Scared of losing her. Scared of what was happening. Scared of my own panic. And in that most vulnerable moment, I realized I hadn't once really talked to Emma. All week, I'd only been scared, only avoided her, only secretly thrown away food, only hidden in fear. I hadn't once looked into her eyes and said, I'm sorry for my past. I love you. I've never cheated on you. I cried a little longer, then wiped my tears with my sleeve. I folded the sweater, placed it gently back on the shelf, exactly where it belonged. I looked in the bedroom mirror, face gaunt, eyes red, hair a mess, a coward. But I decided, tonight I would really talk to Emma. No more hiding, no more fear. I would say everything. Keys rattling at the door. I heard Emma push the door open, plastic bags rustling. I walked to the living room. Emma came in, carrying 2 big bags of groceries, a bright smile on her face. She set the bags on the table, breathing hard. Oh my God, so heavy. Tonight I'll cook Italian. You like pasta, right? I got fresh tomato sauce, ground beef, Parmesan cheese too. I looked at her smile. Her eyes lit up as she talked about dinner. Her hands busily took things out of the bags, packages and boxes, setting them on the kitchen counter. And my determination melted away. I nodded again, smiled my crooked smile again, was scared again. Yeah, I love it, I said, my voice weak. Emma looked at me for a second, then turned back to the kitchen to get busy. I stood there, watching her, feeling so pathetic. That night, Emma made pasta. The smell of garlic frying filled the whole kitchen. The smell of tomato sauce thickening, of ground beef browning. I sat at the table, watched her bring out 2 plates of pasta, sprinkled cheese on top. the cheese melting into long strings. "Enjoy, babe." Emma sat down across from me, eyes bright. I looked at the pasta. Red sauce, yellow cheese, green basil sprinkled on top. Beautiful. Fragrant. Normally, I'd finish in 5 minutes. Today, I picked up my fork, twirled some pasta, brought it to my mouth, chewed. Still delicious. Still perfect like always. But I ate slowly, bite by bite, not daring to look at Emma. Emma ate slowly, too. Sometimes I glanced up, saw her looking at me. Then she'd look down again. The air was so heavy it was hard to breathe. I ate half the plate, then put my fork down. "Really good, Em. I'm full." Emma looked at my half-full plate, then at me. Her eyes weren't bright anymore. Those eyes looked at me for a long time. Then suddenly she asked, "Jake, are you scared of me?" I froze. My hand was reaching for my water glass, stopped midair. "Why? Why do you ask that?" Emma put her fork down. She looked straight into my eyes. Her eyes were red. "I saw." Her voice choked. "You don't dare eat food I cook. You throw food away when I'm not looking. You can't sleep. You're scared of me, aren't you?" My heart stopped. Cold sweat broke out all over my body. I wanted to speak, but my mouth was frozen, couldn't say anything. How long have you known?" I asked, my voice rough. "A few days now." Emma looked down. "I saw you pour the noodle soup down the toilet. Saw you not drink the orange juice. Saw you look at me like I was a monster." Tears started falling from her eyes. The first drop fell on the table, soaking into the tablecloth. "I knew you saw my search history. I knew you were scared." Her voice cracked. "But Jake, I only looked up those videos because I was hurting so much. I didn't know what else to do." I watched her cry. Tears ran down her cheeks, fell off her chin, dropped onto her still full pasta plate. "When I read your old messages, I felt like I was dying inside. I didn't recognize you. I didn't understand how the person I love could say those things to so many other girls." Emma wiped her tears with her hand, but the more she wiped, the more came. "I hurt so much I didn't know what to do. So I went on YouTube looking for ways to make it hurt less, looking to understand why, looking for ways to make you understand how much I hurt." She looked up at me, eyes bloodshot, soaked with tears. "But I never planned to hurt you. I would never do that. I love you, Jake. I love you with all my heart. I just didn't know how to stop hurting." I sat still, my shaking hands lay on the table. "I saw you losing weight, saw you awake at night, saw you look at me with scared eyes." Emma sobbed. "And I hurt more, 100 times more than those videos. Because I knew I was the one who made you scared. Even though I didn't mean to, I made you scared." "Emma," I tried to speak, but my voice was gone. "Do you know I'm awake every night too?" She kept going like she couldn't hear me. "Every night I lie there, watching you sleep on the couch, wondering if we can get through this. I'm so scared. Scared of losing you. Scared of you looking at me like I'm your enemy." I stood up, walked around the table, sat down next to her. My shaking hand reached up, wiped her tears. Emma's cheeks were wet, hot. "I'm sorry," I said, my voice choked too. "I'm so sorry. I'm a coward. I didn't dare talk to you. I only knew how to be scared." Emma looked at me, tears still flowing. "I'm sorry for my past." I kept going, trying to look straight into her eyes. "I'm sorry for those messages. For the person I used to be, I'm so ashamed. But I need you to know, from the day I met you, I've never looked at anyone else. I've never cheated on you. I love you. I love you more than anything in this world." Emma looked at me. Her wet eyes stared without blinking. "Really?" she whispered. "Really, I swear." I took her hand. Emma's hand was ice cold. "The only thing I'm scared of is losing you. That's my only fear." Emma cried harder, but this time she didn't hold it in. She cried out loud, cried like a child. Then she threw her arms around me, buried her face in my chest. I held her tight, tighter than ever before. Her hair smelled good, familiar. Her body was warm in my arms. And for the first time in a week, she wasn't the person planning revenge anymore. She was just Emma, the girl I love, hurting because of me. We held each other in the middle of the kitchen, letting the pasta get cold on the table, letting tears soak into our clothes. Outside, Seattle started to rain again. Soft raindrops tapped on the window. I buried my face in her hair, whispered, I'm sorry, I won't let you hurt anymore." Emma held me tighter. She didn't say anything, just soft crying and the sound of rain. And I knew that this was the truth. All week I'd been scared of something that wasn't real. I was scared Emma would get revenge, but she just needed me to look into her eyes and say, "I love you." I held her for a long time, until the tears dried, until the rain stopped outside. Chapter 7, The Truth. Emma cried for a very long time. I sat still, not knowing what to do. Then I stood up, went to her, knelt down, and hugged her. My arms wrapped around her, pulled her into my chest. Emma buried her face in my shoulder, tears soaking my shirt. I didn't say anything, just held her tight, one hand gently rubbing her back. Her breathing was uneven, little sobs still making her shoulders shake. "I'm sorry," I whispered. "I'm sorry I didn't talk to you. I'm sorry I was scared of you. I'm sorry my past hurt you." Emma held me tighter, her fingernails pressed gently into my shirt. "I didn't want to get revenge on you," she said, her voice thick with crying. I just wanted you to understand how much it hurt reading those messages." I stayed quiet, let her talk. "I saw you flirting with other girls, saying sweet things to them. The same things you said to me." Her voice broke. I asked myself, what's so special about me, or am I just one of them? I held her face, lifted it up, made her look into my eyes. Emma's eyes were red, wet, shining under the yellow light in the living room. "You are special," I said, my voice choked. I tried to say each word clear as I could. "I cut off all of them from the day I met you. I haven't texted anyone since then, not once." "Then why didn't you tell me? Why did you let me read those messages and not explain anything?" I was quiet for a moment. Emma's eyes looked at me, waiting. I could feel her breath on my face. "Because I was scared," I admitted. "Scared you'd see the old me. Scared you'd hate me. I thought deleting the messages would make it go away. I was so stupid." Emma looked at me. Another tear rolled down her cheek. "Yeah, you were really stupid," she said. But the corner of her mouth lifted a little. "But I was just as stupid. I looked up revenge on YouTube instead of just telling you I was hurt." I laughed, even though tears were running down my face too without me noticing. Emma laughed too, a smile wet with tears. We sat there, holding each other in the living room, crying and laughing like two kids. We moved to the couch. Emma leaned her head on my shoulder, her hand still holding mine tight. I started talking. "You know, that day I came home and saw you on the couch holding my old phone. My heart dropped to the floor. I remembered that terrifying feeling from that afternoon, and I knew right away you'd seen something. But I didn't dare ask. Then you went upstairs and closed the door. I sat against that door for hours." Emma squeezed my hand. "You sat at the door?" "Yeah, I heard you crying, but didn't dare come in." Emma was quiet for a moment. Then she said softly, "I cried so much. I've never cried that much before." I took a deep breath, kept talking. "The next day you made breakfast. Fried eggs, runny yolk. You know I like them that way. But I didn't dare eat. I only had one piece of toast, then dumped the whole plate of eggs when you weren't looking." Emma lifted her head to look at me. "You really dumped it?" "Yeah, in the next few days I dumped everything. Noodle soup, rice, that orange chicken, all of it," I confessed. "I was so scared. Scared you put something in the food." Emma stared at me, eyes wide. Then she laughed. A real laugh, not forced. "You thought I was putting poison in the food?" I felt a little embarrassed. "I didn't know. You watching those videos freaked me out. Laxatives, nausea stuff, all kinds of things." Emma laughed more, shaking her head. "I watched those videos at 2 a.m. because I couldn't sleep. I clicked on them because I was curious, not because I was going to do it. I didn't even watch all of them. They were too gross, so I turned them off." I breathed a sigh of relief. Then I laughed too. We sat there laughing together even though tears were still on our faces. "And that orange juice the other morning," I kept going. "I dumped that down the toilet too." Emma pretended to hit my arm. "Oh my God, I squeezed fresh oranges for you and you dumped it?" I'm sorry. "That expired MSG, I didn't even know," I added. "You bought it a long time ago, right?" Emma made a face. "Yeah, I bought it last month. Didn't notice it expired, but expired MSG isn't going to kill anyone. It just doesn't taste as good." I held my head. "I didn't know that. At the time I was thinking all kinds of crazy things." Emma laughed, falling back on the couch. I laughed too, but inside I felt so relieved. All week I'd been living in a nightmare I created myself. And now the nightmare was gone. Emma suddenly stood up, pulled my hand. "Come with me." She pulled me into the kitchen, opened the fridge, took out things one by one. The half-finished pasta, the container of braised pork, vegetables from the crisper, eggs, milk. She set it all on the kitchen counter. "Eat." Emma looked at me, hands on her hips. "Eat it all. I cooked for you and you just threw it away." She talked and laughed, but her eyes were red again. I saw the corner of her eyes glistening. I stood up, walked to her, hugged her from behind. My chin rested on her shoulder, my arms around her waist, pulling her close. "I'm sorry," I whispered in her ear. I'll eat everything." Emma turned around, buried her face in my chest. I felt the warmth from her body, her familiar hair smell, her heartbeat next to mine. That night, we sat in the kitchen until 2 a.m. Emma reheated the food. Pasta in the microwave, braised pork on the stove. I sat at the table, watching her move around, feeling strangely warm inside. When the food was hot, Emma brought it over, set it in front of me. Eat. I picked up my chopsticks, took a piece of braised pork. The meat was soft, soaked in spices, rich. I chewed, swallowed, then took more. I ate like I hadn't eaten in days. All week, I'd practically starved myself. Now my body was finally getting what it needed. Emma sat across from me, watching me eat, smiling. Not the smile that scared me from before, but Emma's old smile. Warm, loving, gentle eyes watching me. I ate and looked at her. Her eyes were still a little swollen from crying, but the look was back. The look of trust, of love. I reached across the table, wiped a spot of sauce from the corner of her mouth. Emma looked surprised, then smiled. Next time you're mad, don't go on YouTube, okay? I said. Emma laughed louder. Next time you have a bad past, tell me first. Don't let me find out myself. I nodded. Promise. Emma held out her pinky finger. Promise. I hooked my pinky around hers. That childish pinky promise, like when we first started dating. We both laughed. After eating, Emma leaned against me on the couch. The TV was on, but nobody watched. We just sat there, quiet, feeling each other's warmth. Jake, Emma said softly. Yeah? Next time something happens, let's talk to each other. Don't let us get this far apart again. I held her tighter. I promise. Emma looked up at me. I love you. I looked into her eyes, eyes that had become again the eyes of the girl I love. I love you so much. We kissed gently. The first kiss after a whole long week. A kiss like a promise, like forgiveness, like a new beginning. Outside, Seattle rain still fell softly on the window. But inside the small apartment, my heart was warm. Emma leaned against me, eyes closed, breathing evenly. I looked around the living room, where I'd slept on the couch for so many nights, where I'd watched Emma from far away in fear. Now, everything was different. The room felt cozy again, familiar again. I bent down and kissed Emma's hair. She stirred a little, whispered, "Eat breakfast tomorrow, okay? I'll cook." I smiled. Yeah, I'll eat. I'll eat it all. And I knew that everything would be okay. Not because all misunderstandings were gone, not because the past was erased, but because we'd learned to talk to each other, to listen, to trust. The Seattle night was still raining, but in my heart, the sky had cleared. Chapter 8, Making Up. The next morning, I woke up in bed. Emma lay next to me, still asleep, hair spread out on the pillow. For the first time in a week, I slept that well. I lay there watching Emma sleep. Soft light came through the curtains, shining on her face. The early sunlight slipped through the gaps in the curtain, painting faint streaks of light on her cheek. She looked tired, dark circles still under her eyes, but her mouth smiled a little in her sleep, probably dreaming of something good. I gently brushed her hair. A few stray strands on her forehead, I pushed them aside. Emma stirred, opened her eyes. Looking at me, she smiled sleepily, eyes still half closed. "Good morning," she said, her voice still rough. "Good morning," I said. "Hungry? I'll make breakfast." Emma raised an eyebrow, eyes opening a little wider. "You'll cook? Do you even dare eat what you cook?" I laughed. Her words hit right at the funniest part of the past week. I dare, because I know I didn't put poison in it. Emma laughed, punched me lightly in the chest. The punch didn't hurt, and just like a tickle. "Go cook then, but make it good." I got out of bed, pulled the covers up for her. Emma curled up, pulled the blanket up to her chin, eyes looking at me, smiling. I bent down and kissed her forehead, then went downstairs. Down in the kitchen, I opened the fridge. Eggs, milk, butter, bread. Still plenty of stuff. I took it all out, started cooking. Eggs whisking in the bowl, butter sizzling in the hot pan. The smell started spreading. I made scrambled eggs, the only thing I was confident making. Coffee from the machine, just push a button. When I set everything on the table, Emma had come down. She sat at the table wearing my gray hoodie, hair still a little messy, but face more awake. She looked at the golden scrambled eggs. Fragrant toast, steaming coffee. "Looks good," she said. "Didn't know you had skills." "Very skilled," I bragged, sitting down across from her. We ate breakfast together. Normal, like nothing had happened. Forks hitting plates, crunching toast, drinking coffee. The most ordinary sounds. But sometimes our eyes met, and we smiled. A slightly embarrassed smile, like, did we really go through all that? Emma bit into her toast, looking at me, eyes crinkling with a smile, and I smiled too, feeling warmth spread in my chest. Jake, Emma said in the middle of the meal, putting her fork down. Yeah? I'm sorry for scaring you. I looked at her. Her face was serious, no joking smile anymore. I didn't mean to, but I know how much you suffered these past few days. Seeing you lose weight, not sleep panic, it broke my heart. I put my fork down, reached out, and took her hand. I'm sorry, too, for not telling you about my past, for hiding it from you, for letting you find out in such a terrible way. Emma turned her hand over, lacing her fingers through mine. Let's promise, from now on, no hiding anything from each other. Even the bad past, even stupid fears. I nodded, promise. We shook hands, seriously, like business partners signing a contract. Then we both burst out laughing at how overly serious it was. Emma laughed so hard she almost choked on her coffee. After eating, we didn't get up right away. Just sat there, looking at each other, holding hands across the table. Hey, Emma said, tell me, what things did you throw away? I made a face. You really want to hear? Yeah, tell me everything. I counted on my fingers. Pho on Monday, fried rice Tuesday, orange chicken Wednesday, pasta last night, orange juice that morning. Emma shook her head but smiled. Oh my God, such a waste. That orange chicken took me 2 hours to make. I know, I'm sorry. What else? The expired MSG in the trash. I thought you poisoned me. Emma held her stomach, laughing. Expired MSG. Oh my God, Jake, you thought I used that to hurt you? I was panicking. You watched those videos. Then you bent down under the counter doing something. I suspected everything. Emma remembered. Oh, that was when I dropped a spoon. I dropped a spoon, bent down to pick it up and wash it. I covered my face. Oh my God. Keep going. I want to hear how far your paranoia went. So I told her. Told her about smelling every spice jar. About standing staring at the fridge for 15 minutes, not daring to take anything out. About lying on the couch, pretending to sleep to hear if she went to the kitchen. About pouring orange juice down the toilet and watching it go. Emma listened and laughed until tears came, but those tears weren't sad tears. They were tears of relief, of love. Now your turn, I said. Tell me what videos you watched. Emma blushed. No way. Tell me, I told you everything. Emma looked down, but still told me. I watched How to Get Revenge on a Cheating Boyfriend, 10 Ways to Make Him Regret It, Make Your Boyfriend Terrified, stuff like that. And did you plan to do any of it? No. Some videos I watched 5 minutes and got scared and all crazy stuff. One video taught putting bleach in drinks. I watched and got creeped out, turned it off right away. I breathed a sigh of relief. Good thing. Hey, Ohaya, you thought I would actually do that? I'm this sweet. I looked at her. Messy hair, oversized hoodie, big round eyes looking at me. My Emma. Sweet, kind, loving. I know, and I said, I know, I just panicked too much. Emma suddenly got serious. She looked at me, eyes not joking anymore. But Jake, I still want to ask you something. I swallowed. My heart skipped a beat. What is it? Why did you flirt with so many girls back then? That question. The question I knew would come eventually. I was quiet for a moment, looking into Emma's eyes. She wasn't angry, wasn't blaming, just wanted to understand. I took a deep breath. Because I didn't know who I was, I started telling her. In high school, college, I was nobody special. Average grades, bad at sports, no particular talent. My parents were always busy with work. They loved me, but never had time to pay attention to me. When I won some award at school, they'd say, good job, then turn back to work. When I was sad, they didn't know. When I needed someone to talk to, they weren't there. Emma held my hand tighter. Growing up, I realized when I flirted with a girl, she would notice me, would look at me, would text me back. I felt valuable, felt like I existed. I looked down at the table, and I know it sounds stupid, but that's the truth. I flirted with girls not because I liked them, but because I needed them to see me. I needed attention to fill the emptiness inside. Emma was quiet, letting me keep talking. Then I met you. I looked up at her. The first time I saw you at that coffee shop, remember? You wore a white t-shirt, hair in a ponytail, laughing with your friend. I looked at you and suddenly felt different. I didn't want to flirt with you. I just wanted to be near you. Wanted to know what you liked, what you hated, what made you laugh. Emma smiled softly. From that day, I stopped texting anyone else. I deleted all those dating apps. I only wanted you. You filled that emptiness. Not with temporary attention, but with real love. I looked straight into her eyes. Now I have you. I don't need anyone else. Don't need anyone's attention. Just you. Emma looked at me for a long time. Her eyes were shiny but not crying. Just looking, like reading every word on my face. Then she stood up, walked around behind my chair, hugged me from behind. Her arms wrapped around my neck, around my chest. Warmth from her body spread to me. Her hair smelled good, familiar. "I love you," she said softly, whispering in my ear. "I love that little lonely kid from back then. That kid who had to seek attention from others to feel valuable." Her voice was warm, gentle. "But I love the man you are now. The man who knows how to be scared, how to say sorry, how to love me." I turned around, pulled her into my lap. Emma sat on my lap, arms around my neck. We held each other in the kitchen, under the morning light coming through the small window. I buried my face in her hair, felt her heartbeat matching mine. And I knew the wound was starting to heal. Not because everything was forgotten, not because the past was erased, but because we understood each other better. Because we chose to stay together, even knowing each other's hidden corners. Emma looked up at me, smiled. "Craving coffee?" she said. "Make me another cup?" I smiled. Yes, ma'am." She stood up, pulled me with her. I made coffee. Emma stood next to me, leaning her head on my shoulder. Morning light filled the small kitchen. A new day was beginning. Chapter 9, Peaceful Days. 1 month later, everything was back to normal, but a different kind of normal. We were closer, talked more, and laughed more. Me and Emma now had a new habit. Every night before bed, we sat on the couch and told each other one thing from the day. Something happy, something sad, or something stupid we did. That old gray couch was now our favorite spot. Emma put her feet on my lap. I played with her hair and we talked. Tonight, Emma said, "Today at work, I almost sent an email to my boss instead of my friend. Luckily, I hit undo in time." I laughed. "Today, I almost called you by my old cat's name." Emma lifted her head, eyes wide. "You had a cat?" "No, but I imagined one." Emma laughed, rolling on the couch. Her laugh was my favorite thing in the world. It was clear, warm, like morning sunshine. Every time I heard her laugh, I felt so peaceful inside. Sometimes we still talked about that week. It didn't hurt anymore, didn't scare anymore. Now it was just a story to tell, to laugh about, to remind us of what we'd been through. Emma said, "Looking back, it's so funny. Me watching revenge videos, you scared I was poisoning your food. Because you watch so much, you freaked me out." I defended myself. "Well, I was hurting," Emma shrugged, but her eyes still smiled. "Hurting so much, I had to find something to watch." I took her hand, brought it to my lips, and kissed it gently. "I understand. But next time you hurt, tell me, don't go on YouTube." She nodded, then tilted her head, looking at me. "Next time you have a bad pass, tell me first." "No more bad pass, I told you everything." Emma squinted, a playful look. "Really? Tell me about the time in 9th grade when you stole money from your mom to buy a video game." I covered my face, wanting to hide under the couch. "Oh my God, you remember that too? You told me. Last time you told me, I even remember the details. 300,000 dong. Bought a shooting game. Hid it under your pillow. Mom found out, beat you." I groaned. "Please stop bringing up painful memories." Emma laughed triumphantly. Holding her stomach rolling on the couch, I watched her laugh. My heart filled with love in a strange way. This little person, she knew everything about me, from the best things to the most embarrassing things. And she was still here, still laughing, still loving me. That night, Emma went into the bathroom. I heard water running, her humming. Probably forgot to bring her phone in, so had to entertain herself. I sat alone on the bed, looking out the window. Seattle at night sparkled with lights. Then my eyes stopped on Emma's phone on the nightstand. I reached out and picked it up. Not to snoop, just curious. A month ago, this thing made me panic like crazy. Now it was just a normal phone. I opened YouTube, typed in the search bar, "How to get revenge on a cheating boyfriend." Dozens of videos appeared. I clicked one with the most views. A girl with heavy makeup, talking fast like a machine gun. "If your boyfriend cheats, don't cry, do this instead." Then she showed all kinds of things. Post fun pictures on social media to make him jealous, text his best friend, burn old memories and send him the video. I scrolled down to the comments, all girls commenting, "Did it, works great. My boyfriend cried like rain, so good, sis." I laughed, shaking my head. Turned out it was all childish stuff. No videos about poisoning or really hurting anyone. The ones Emma watched about laxatives and nausea were probably just dumb clickbait videos. I watched a few more. All harmless, some even taught. How to get pretty as revenge. I laughed out loud, wondering how I could panic over things like this. The water in the bathroom stopped. A moment later, Emma came out, hair wrapped in a towel, face bright after showering. She saw me holding her phone, raised an eyebrow. "What are you doing?" I held up the phone, showed the screen. I was watching some of those videos you watched that day. Emma blushed, her face flushed pink from cheeks down to her neck. Why are you watching those? I smiled, to understand you better. Emma ran to the bed, jumped on, hugged me tight. She buried her face in my chest, her voice muffled. You're so silly. I held her, smiling. Yeah, I am. Those videos are so dumb. I should have watched them from the beginning. It would have saved a whole week of living in fear. Emma looked up at me. I'm dumb too. I should have talked to you instead of searching all over. I kissed her forehead. Well, it's over now. Emma nodded. Then she reached over and turned off the light. The room went dark, just streetlight through the curtains, painting faint streaks on the ceiling. We lay down, Emma resting her head on my chest, her arm wrapped around me, holding my hand. I love you, Jake, she whispered. I kissed her forehead, breathing in her hair's fresh scent. I love you too. I was quiet for a moment, then kept going. And I promise, I'll never give you a reason to go on YouTube looking for revenge videos again. Emma giggled. Her laugh vibrated softly in the dark. If you make me mad, I'll find better videos, she joked. What videos? Teach you to burn things? No, teach me to cook your most hated food and make you eat it. I laughed. The worst crime ever. Emma laughed louder, then gradually quieted. Her breathing evened out, soft on my chest. I lay still, feeling each of her breaths, each bit of warmth passing to me. Outside, Seattle at night was still noisy with city sounds, distant traffic, train whistles from the station. But in this small room, just the sound of us breathing, blending together. I looked at the ceiling, remembering 1 month ago. Same room, same bed, but I lay there with terrible fear. I was scared to eat, scared to sleep, scared of the girl lying next to me. But now she lay in my arms, trusting me, loving me. The wound had healed, leaving a small scar. Not painful, but it's reminding me that love needs honesty and communication. I closed my eyes, feeling Emma's warmth. Her small body curled up in my arms like a kitten. I pulled the blanket higher, covering her. Jake, Emma suddenly said, her voice sleepy. Yeah? I'm glad we made it through. I opened my eyes, looking into the dark. Me too. Good night. Good night, my love. Emma breathed softly, then fell asleep. I lay there a little longer, listening to her breathing, feeling each small movement in her dreams. Then I closed my eyes too. My breath slowly matched Emma's, matching the peaceful night, matching our new life, where there was no more fear, no more doubt, just love and peaceful days. Chapter 10. An Ordinary Morning. A Saturday morning, 3 months later, I woke up to birds singing outside the window. Emma was already up, the bed next to me empty, blanket still warm, pillow still dented where her head had been. I lay there a little longer, listening to birds chirping somewhere on the balcony. Sunlight seeped through the curtain gaps, drawing long streaks on the wood floor. Seattle was prettiest this season. Clear blue sky, cool air, flowers blooming on every street. I went downstairs to the kitchen. Emma was cooking, her back to me. She wore my old white t-shirt, hair in a high ponytail, a few loose strands floating in front of her face. The smell of bacon and eggs filled the room, that smell that reminded me of Sunday mornings from childhood when my mom still cooked breakfast at home. Good morning, I said, wrapping my arms around her from behind. My chin rested on her shoulder, my arms around her waist, pulling her close. Good morning, Emma replied, not turning around. But I knew she was smiling. I could feel it in her shoulders, shaking slightly. Almost done. Go sit down. I kissed her cheek, then went to the table to sit. Watched Emma bring out the plates. Sunny side up eggs, crispy bacon, golden toast, fragrant drip coffee. Perfect. I looked at the plate, looked at Emma. Then I picked up my fork and ate with enjoyment. The egg melted in my mouth, yolk running rich and creamy, bacon crispy, hot toast with butter. Emma watched me smiling. Her eyes were warm, gentle. Not scared? She asked, a little teasing in her voice. I chewed, swallowed, then answered, I was so dumb back then. Now I know. You're only cruel on YouTube. In the kitchen, you're my best chef. Emma laughed, threw the dish towel at me. Jerk. I caught the towel, laughing with her. The towel smelled like soap, soft in my hand. We ate breakfast, chatting about random things. Weekend plans, movie this afternoon, heard there was a good comedy. Sunday visiting Emma's parents. Her mom called, saying she missed her daughter and that Jake guy too. What to eat tonight? Emma said she wanted hot pot. I said, let's go shopping for ingredients. The most ordinary things for an ordinary couple. Nothing special. Nothing overly romantic. Just two people eating breakfast, talking about little everyday things. But to me, it was everything. After eating, Emma took the dishes to the sink. I wiped the table, cleaning up stray breadcrumbs. Small kitchen, the two of us squeezing in, bumping into each other sometimes, then laughing. Emma reached for the dish soap. I moved aside, shoulders touching. "Move it, let me wash," Emma joked. "Wait, let me finish wiping first." We giggled like two kids. Then Emma turned to me, suddenly serious. Her eyes looked straight at me, no more joking. "Jake." "Yeah?" "Thank you." I stopped wiping the table, looked back at her. "For what?" "Thank you for not running away." Emma spoke slowly, each word deliberate. "Thank you for being scared, but still staying." I looked at her, my heart melting like bread dipped in milk. Her eyes were shiny, sincere. "I'm the one who should thank you," I said, my voice a little choked. "Thank you for not following those videos." Emma laughed, punched my chest lightly. "So dumb. Really dumb." I took her hand, brought it to my lips, and kissed it gently. "But dumb because I love you." Emma looked at me. Her eyes sparkled in the morning light. Then she stood on her tiptoes and kissed me. A gentle kiss, warm in the sun-filled kitchen. Her lips were soft, tasting like coffee. Her arms wrapped around my neck, pulling me down. My arms held her waist, pulling her close. The kiss lasted a few seconds, then we pulled apart, looking at each other, smiling. Morning light slipped through the window frame, shining on the two of us, hugging in the kitchen. Golden rays, warm, shining straight into my heart. Outside, the city of Seattle was waking up with familiar sounds. Distant traffic. Birds singing in the trees outside, someone playing music from the next apartment, an old song, gentle. In the small kitchen, the smell of bacon still lingered. The smell of coffee still hung in the air. Emma's hair smelled like lavender shampoo. And I thought, this is happiness. Not big promises, not cheesy romantic gestures, not expensive gifts or fancy trips. But this ordinary morning, eating breakfast with the person I love, laughing, holding hands, living peaceful days after the storm. Emma leaned her head on my chest. I could feel her heartbeat, steady, peaceful. "Let's live like this forever, Jake," she said softly. I kissed her hair. Her hair was soft, smelling like sunshine. Forever. And I knew this time I wasn't scared anymore. Not scared of losing her, not scared of the past, not scared of misunderstandings that might come. Because I had learned that love isn't about never making mistakes, isn't about never misunderstanding, isn't about never being afraid. Love is after all those things. After the tears, after the sleepless nights, after the panic and doubt, still choosing to be together. Simple as this morning. The sun still shone, the birds still sang, and Emma was still in my arms.